All right, I'm back, you guys. Hopefully you can see my screen now. So sorry about that not working the first time. But if you are here, we are going to continue on our tour of New York. So again, we are at EarthCam, and EarthCam is a really cool place where you can see a whole bunch of places all around the world. So at our EarthCam, we're going to start at the Statue of Liberty. Has anyone ever seen the Statue of Liberty in real life? All right, we're back. Sweet. Thanks for being patient with me, you guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning. But like I said, we're here on EarthCam. EarthCam is a really great place where you can see places all around the world. Today, we're going to be at New York. I thought it was fitting for Memorial Day weekend, and we're going to explore some really popular places all around New York. Has anyone been to New York before or on the East Coast? Hey, Thomas. Hey, Tim. Welcome back. Thanks for being patient through the technical difficulties. Okay, so right here we have the Statue of Liberty, and I get to act as a tour guide today, and I can tell you little tips and information about each place we're going to go visit. So this is the Statue of Liberty. So does anyone know how tall is she? How tall is the Statue of Liberty? What is your best guess? Oh no! Ellie, is it working again? Let me know. So we can zoom in here. So it doesn't seem like a lot of people are out because in New York there are a lot of rules to stay at home just like we have them here. But it seems to be a beautiful day in New York, right? So if you've never seen the Statue of Liberty in person, she is green. So originally she was made out of copper. So she was more of a bronze color. But with all of the weather and the rain and everything that she experiences, she has turned this green color, which I think is pretty. 8 feet and 34 inches. Okay, that's a good guess, Thomas. Any other guesses? Any other guesses for how tall she is? I can go to a couple different shots of her right here. Okay, does that put it into perspective? We have a building. So she is on top of a building. She's over the trees, and in the landscape, you can see that she has a torch in her hand as well. Any other guesses? 7 feet tall. Okay. So Ryan thinks she's about the size of an NBA basketball player. Okay, the Statue of Liberty. Are you ready? She is 305 feet tall. So that is probably about, let me do some quick math. That is 43 professional basketball players, Mr. Ryan, stacked on top of each other. So here is the Statue of Liberty on a cloudy day in New York. Okay, we're going to hop over to an island in New York, which is known for having, oh wow, so many technical difficulties. That's all right. We're going to hop over to this view over here of the New York Harbor. So New York is known for having a lot of harbors and being on the water. Oh, there's an advertisement. I am so sorry for all of these technical difficulties, you guys. But if you've ever been to New York, you know that there is a lot of water surrounding it. So in the background, you can see water and boats. And it looks like this video is a moving video of all of the surrounding buildings. So we can kind of scroll down. Awesome. So this is the landscape of New York and all of its surrounding islands. So I bet when you think of New York, you think of the city, right? You think of Times Square. So we're going to hop over to one of the most famous parts of New York, which is Times Square. So when you think of Times Square, Jamie said, holy smokes. Yeah, that is very tall. When you think of Times Square, if you've ever been, do you think it's usually very busy with people or very empty? Has anyone been before to New York City or seen movies? There's a lot of movies that have New York City. So right here we have Times Square, and it looks, let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 people walking around, which is so rare for Times Square, right? It's usually one of the most populated places in America. But since people are staying at home, they're following the rules. It's not very populated right now, so people are staying safe. Jamie said, when you click somewhere new, is it always live in that city or place? Yes. So if I click on a new area, Jamie, it shows me live what's happening right here. So we can see that these construction workers are eating their lunch at 1:13 p.m. in New York because it's an hour ahead, and we can see what people are doing at this time. So at night, I'm not sure if you've ever been to Times Square, but these stairs are really famous. They're red and they light up, and a lot of people like to take pictures on them. Let's go to somewhere that might have some more people. We're going to Times Square, but a different angle. So this is another view of Times Square, which if you ever watch the New Year's Eve ball dropping special in New York, you know that every single inch of this place is filled with people, which is why it's so surprising to see barely any people out today. So here is a live view of Times Square. Times Square is known for a lot of its shopping, so you'll see a lot of stores literally on every single corner. You'll see a lot of people walking because it doesn't really make sense for people to have cars in New York because they walk everywhere. Okay, we're going to go to a different intersection in New York. Now, usually on EarthCam, you will be able to see, nope, that's not what I'm looking for. You'll be able to see different street performers because New York is known for having people performing, and it's a place where they have a lot of shows. However, there is not a whole lot going on in New York today, which is okay, right? People are relaxing and staying home and following the rules. So New York is also known for their Broadway shows. Has anyone ever watched a Broadway show or seen a Broadway show or listened to Broadway music on television? What are some of your favorite Broadway shows? Okay, so right here, what do you guys think this is? We have this sparkly ball right here. Remember I mentioned the New Year's Eve ball drop? Right here is the famous ball that drops for New Year's Eve, counting down the new year. And when you zoom out, you can see all of the huge screens that they have. So can you guys imagine driving down the street in Plano, Texas, seeing screens this big down the street? That would be insane. I can really only imagine that in New York. So it looks like a lot of the advertisements have thank you for essential workers and a lot of information saying please practice social distancing. So it looks like people are following the rules, right? Hi, Katie C. Welcome to New York. All right, we're going to keep on going through New York City. So we are going to go to a bridge. So this bridge right here is famous. It is called the Brooklyn Bridge. There's another advertisement. I'm sorry, guys. So if you've ever been to the Brooklyn Bridge before in New York, it is the very, very, very first steel bridge that was made in America. Isn't that amazing? So that is a very old and very, very sturdy bridge that has been in America for a very long time. Does anyone want to guess what year the Brooklyn Bridge was built? So this bridge is famous because it connects this island to this island. Before this bridge was built, people would have had to go all the way around or go through a ferry. So bridges are very important in connecting people, connecting businesses. So this was a really cool new innovation. Does anyone want to guess how old it is? I'll give you a hint. It was before the 1900s. So before you were born, before your parents were born, and before a lot of grandparents were born as well, is when this bridge was built. Any guesses on the dates? It was in the 1800s. It was in 1883. So we learned that the Statue of Liberty is over 300 feet tall, and the Brooklyn Bridge was built in 1883. Oh my goodness. Do you think that there is a lot of history in New York? Let's keep going through the different views of New York City. So we have the Brooklyn Bridge right there. We have what looks like Times Square in the distance, and a lot of buildings. Would you guys like to live in a town with so many buildings? Okay, we're going back to a Times Square cam. Once it loads, we're just going to check in to see how many people are there. Not very many. So notice we have all of these huge ads up here. We have huge screens the size of buildings. If you had your own advertisement in New York City, what would it be a picture of? If you had your own advertisement in New York City, what would you have a picture of? Ooh, 1885. Yeah, so Jamie said this is a cool way to visit somewhere before actually going and plan traveling. Yep, that's so right. Okay, so look at all of these giant posters. If you had to advertise something in New York City, what would you put on it? I'm so curious what you guys would put for millions of people to see. I would advertise, I would probably put one of my favorite Bible verses up on a big advertisement so that everyone who walked by it could be comforted by that Bible verse. That's something I would put on a big sign in New York, I think. Let's see. Let's keep going through some different places in New York. So some of them are panoramas, which mean that you can see one side all the way to the other side. So this is a live picture that was just taken. And I've been to New York probably 10 times, and I have never, ever seen it this empty. It is so weird seeing it this empty. All right, so here's our panoramic view. I'm trying to find a few of the bigger memorials, like the 9/11 memorial in New York. Let's see what this is. Oh, perfect. So this is something that's called Columbus Circle in New York. So it's kind of blocked by a moving truck at the moment, but this is a very famous circle. Columbus Circle. Who do you guys think it is named after? Or what do you think it represents? Who is it named after? So, Columbus Circle right here is a really famous, it's basically just a big traffic roundabout, but it's known for being called Columbus Circle because, if you guessed it right, it was named after, it was named after Christopher Columbus. And we have a huge statue in here where people can walk around, go up the steps, and read about Christopher Columbus. If you ever go to New York, know that you need some good walking shoes, right? What do we see people doing? Walking, walking, walking. If you live in New York, chances are you don't have a car. You either ride a bicycle, or you use a scooter, or you walk around town. So I can zoom in a little bit. We can see people walking and kind of sitting and relaxing. All right, let's keep on clicking through our different places. I'm sorry that New York isn't very exciting today because of what is going on. But if we scroll down here, we can see some live shots of Columbus Circle at night, Columbus Circle in the daytime, and I really want to find the World Trade Center Memorial or the 9/11 Memorial, because I think that would be something great to tour during this Memorial Day weekend, right? So let's see if we can find it. Under more. Nope, not here. So I think, let's go back to the city. So this is just Midtown New York. Once it loads. Awesome. Okay. So this is probably one of my favorite views ever of New York, because you can see all of the skyline, all of the buildings. So we have this famous building right here. Does anyone know what this building is called? It's very tall. It has a pointy tip at the top, and it has this really fancy architecture. Does anyone know what this building is called? Does anyone know what that building is called right here? What do you guys think it's called? So we have this building right here is famous in New York because it at one point was known as the tallest building in the world. Let's keep on clicking through. My computer is freezing a little bit. Thanks for being patient with me, you guys. I'll know next time I go live on EarthCam to make sure that all of the links work first. All right, so this is another monument in New York called Charging Bull. So right here is a famous monument called Charging Bull, and we have something similar in Texas too. If you go to the Longhorns down in Frisco at the Memorial Park there, there's a lot of things to look at. We can even click here and look at some old parades that may have happened in the past. Oh, wow. So many things to look at. Let's see. We can go back to Times Square. I'm going to read some of your comments about a poster that you would make. Something encouraging, Jamie said. That's a good one. Devin said a picture of MP. Ooh, that would be a great way to get the word out, right? To teach people about our organization is to put a big poster of MP with some hipsters doing awesome things. Okay, let's see what happens if we hop over the river from the skyline to look at New Jersey. So New Jersey is right there next to New York. Oh my goodness, so many ads. I'm so sorry, you guys. But basically, New York and New Jersey are known for being on the water. So you get these really beautiful views of the ocean and of the skyline. So if you ever get a chance to go to New York, or if you ever just want to go to EarthCam and look at New York from your own house, I highly recommend looking at the skylines in the daytime and at night. Because if you look at the Hudson River at night, you see all of these buildings lit up, and it is so beautiful. Oh, perfect. Now we can go to the World Trade Center right here. So here is the World Trade Center. Do you guys know what the World Trade Center is famous for? What is the World Trade Center famous for, you guys? Has anyone heard of it before? What does it do? So the World Trade Center is basically exactly what the name says. It's in charge of making sure that businesses and international trade are being regulated, and this is where the government handles it. But if you remember what Tim keeps on commenting, 9/11, that is where there were twin towers right behind it that were attacked. However, today there's a beautiful memorial there, and if you ever get the chance to go to New York, I highly recommend to view the beautiful memorial. It is amazing because they have a tree that was planted when the Twin Towers were first built, and that tree is still standing today. And I think that is so powerful. It shows that despite the terrible things that happened to the city, that people are still strong, and the tree was still strong, and it was a really cool symbol of being strong and courageous during that time. So let's hop on over to another view of a bridge. So this is the Brooklyn Bridge again from 1883. Oh, the same shot. Okay. Well, if you can see all the way down here, we have a boat kind of making its way. So right now, people aren't allowed to get out of their houses, obviously. So I imagine that this boat is probably moving some freight or moving some equipment from one building to another so that they can keep building New York, right? Let's see. We can go to Let's finish this off at one more location, and then I will let you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Let's see what Fifth Avenue is all about. So Fifth Avenue is a famous street in New York. They have this beautiful cathedral here. They have beautiful architecture in cathedrals. Now, Fifth Avenue has this cathedral right, oh, I can zoom in, awesome. Has this cathedral up here. You can see it in the background. And they have beautiful architecture. If you ever get to go, I recommend that you just walk around, look at the buildings, and really appreciate all of the architecture that is there, because it's a very old town with a lot of history. And don't let all of the flashing lights distract you, because there's definitely a lot of pretty sights to see. Sweet. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry there were so many technical difficulties. But I'm so glad you guys were able to kind of look at New York a little bit with me today. And I hope you learned a little bit of facts about the city, about the Brooklyn Bridge, about the World Trade Center, and the Statue of Liberty. So even though we can't travel right now, that's okay. If you have time, go to EarthCam and you can look at cool places all around the world. So I hope that you guys have a really great Memorial Day weekend. Make sure you find a flag, maybe hang it up outside of your house or on your front yard, just to practice some patriotism and honor Memorial Day this weekend. And thank you so much for joining me. Have a good weekend, and I will be back live here at 4 for our Bible study. So I hope that you guys can join me again so that you guys can see my face, and have a great rest of your Friday. Bye, guys.